Hiya! Today I am very excited because I am finally talking about books. The reason this video has taken so long to put together is that I don't play favorites, so I had no idea what books to recommend first, but I thought I have to start from somewhere, so today I will introduce you to 5 of some of my favorite books in no particular order. So yeah, let's just get started. The first book is Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time, From the Big Bang to Black Holes. I have mentioned before that I love physics a lot. I think I might not have emphasized just how much. I used to be absolutely obsessed with it. Books of this sort are the first type that I will naturally gravitate to if I have any time off and want to read. They are just so incredible. The thing that I love is that they are so far removed from anything practical. They transcend emotions, history, politics, anything happening at the moment. And to me, it is the most engaging, inspiring, and mentally challenging escape. The book is targeted at, I think, many different levels, so you don't have to focus on the formulas too much, even though when I first read it, I was trying to derive formulas from first principles. Stephen Hawking has such a wonderful way with words. This is not like a physics textbook. It's so engaging. I would compare it to documentaries that you get on National Geographic about the universe, just a million times better and on paper. I know that books like this can get quite dark and nihilistic, but I am genuinely thriving when I'm reading books like this, which I mean, might say a lot about me, I don't know, but I would definitely recommend it if you're anything like me. My favorite parts of this whole book were the explanation on why the sum of the energy in the universe can be 0, and also Stephen Hawking's calculations on how the universe might have started at a certain point, but it need not necessarily have been a singularity. It's explained in the book. It's really cool. I'd love to talk about it more, but I'm going to move on from this one for now. The next book is To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf, and as far as modern classics go, actually I am safely going to say that this is my favorite. Virginia Woolf is one of those authors that makes me feel as though I should never ever write a book, because I don't think I could ever compare with what she does. But this woman was clearly a massive overthinker, which is something I can very much relate to. But not only that, I feel as though she has this incredible depth of understanding into human nature on both the personal level and especially the interactions and dynamics in families or friendships or the greater world. This book on the surface is like one of those nightmare literature books that I had to read in school, because genuinely there's no plotline, absolutely nothing happens. It's just introspection and thoughts. So on the surface it can seem very boring. However, I cannot describe just how life-changing and valuable this book has been to me. She puts you in the point of view of a mother in a very large family. This woman honestly has a next level understanding of human nature. But not only this, because of the teaching and the perspective that you gain through being in her shoes, I feel as though Virginia intentionally makes you have even more insight than this woman herself has. So you start seeing the flaws in her thinking, and it's like showing you that you are now able to understand this family dynamic even better. It is absolutely incredible. If you're interested at all in human psychology, this is, I think, one of the most beautiful books of all time. And adding onto that, her literary talent, which I haven't even mentioned so far, makes this book absolutely amazing. Honestly, 100 out of 10 would recommend so much. The next book is The Genealogy of Morals by Friedrich Nietzsche, and this is the first real philosophy that I ever read, and I think for that reason I'm greatly attached to it. And this book is extremely problematic. I shudder to think what Friedrich would have thought of the world if he was around today, because it seems as though he is calling the whole world snowflakes, and it is slightly problematic. However, I absolutely still love it. I think used well, this book is a very good self-help manual. Friedrich is quite honest and brutal about how much he dislikes man's hate for oneself, and he really goes into describing just how ridiculous that is, that we are the only creature in the world that hate ourselves. This doesn't happen with any other creatures. And not only this, but he does very interestingly point out how unreliable our moral values are, because things that we now consider sacred were considered terrible in the past, and vice versa. I think he uses the example somewhere of richer people in the past having a beheading or a hanging at their wedding because they celebrated murder in sort of way, while today that would be completely ridiculous. So by showing all these contrasts, I think he does a very, very interesting exploration on what it actually means to be human and just how unreliable ourselves are. So I would definitely recommend this as a manual for self-love and also as a very provocative read. I honestly wish I had a book club with whom to discuss this book, because I've just never managed to have those discussions with anyone except myself, and I think it would be incredibly interesting. The next book would probably be something medical, as it is a huge genre in what I read, and at first I was going to go with Adventures Down a Rabbit Hole, because when I first read that book about 7 years ago, it was the first thing that kindled my love for neurology. However, I resisted the temptation and instead went for Atul Gawande's Being Mortal, and the reason is that I think that everyone should read this book. In this book, he discusses the quite taboo topic of end of life and death. I guess I had never before considered the things mentioned in here. Another main reason that I would recommend this, if you feel scared to do something or tell someone what's on your mind, I would recommend reading this book. It really highlights just how little time we have being able to talk or walk or feed ourselves, and how soon everything ends. After reading this, I remember getting a new sense and push and appreciation to do things with a lot less complexes. So I'd completely forgotten about it actually. So next time I'm scared of doing something, I'm definitely going back to this book. It's so great for that. The last book I'm going to mention is The Courage to Be Disliked. Now, this is a book I read very recently, so last year, after it had so much hype surrounding it. I remember absolutely hating it at first. It's written in a form of a dialogue, but I feel as though one of the main characters is extremely unlikable, and the whole tone of the book just felt kind of condescending to me, because I found it difficult to believe that the conversation was genuine. It really didn't feel that way. And because the main person was kind of annoying, I didn't like it at first. However, I will now say it is one of my absolute favorite books. This book has given me so many new frameworks with which to approach my life and the world, and I'm so grateful to it for minimizing so many complexes that I used to have in my head before. It explains, for example, how praise can make someone lose faith in their own ability over time, how it is a terrible thing to use your disadvantage as a power, which is something that is done, unfortunately, quite a lot. And above everything, I think the framework of judging what is my problem and what is someone else's problem has been absolutely life-changing. What I mean, for example, is someone's opinion on me is their own problem rather than mine, and therefore I shouldn't care about it. And although this is easier said than done, I think reading this book, fully explaining this concept in a lot of detail, has made it so easy for me to actually embrace this way of thinking, which has been incredibly liberating. So I would definitely, absolutely recommend it to everyone. The only quote I'm going to mention is from this book, saying that if you don't live your life, who is going to live it for you? So at that, I am going to wrap up this video. Honestly, I really want to make this a thing where I discuss either one book in depth or even a concept from a book in depth. I'm just not sure what that format looks like yet, but hopefully I will figure it out soon. If you have any suggestions, I'd love them. But yes, if you made it so far, as always, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Be kind to yourself and others, and don't believe everything you think. Thanks. Bye.